Morning, Steph. How are we?
I'm good. I'm good. I haven't got the sun beating down on my head like
Me too.
yourself, but
It's beautiful.
yeah, it's nice out there. Sunny days in London is what we want. But yeah, good, good. Yeah, we caught the Legends game last weekend, which is going to
We
be a
met
funny one.
Cafu.
Yeah, met Cafu. Yeah. For anyone who hasn't, let me see if I can get the photo up and see if it looks quite well on the video. But yeah, we managed to. Despite Milan glory losing, what was it, 6-2, I think,
Yeah, it
to
was
the
6-2,
to the 37-year-old team of Tottenham Hotspur.
Aaron
Yeah,
Lennon.
we were able to meet Cafu, which was pretty good
Yeah.
fun, and probably the highlight of the day. And you got your
I
shirt
did. I
signed as
got
well,
a
didn't
shirt
you?
signed by him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
by one of the,
I had one on that I had like a
yeah,
shirt underneath. Luckily,
yeah.
I just thought, fuck it. He's doing shirt signs. I just took it off and just held it out front, and he did it. So
So
happy
well,
days.
you got a signature from perhaps the best right back of all time.
Definitely.
One would
Yeah.
argue. But yeah, good. We had a good time out there. I thought that was a good. As I sat back and I watched some legendary, obviously over the hill players like Cafu's and Sergino's, 47, 48 years old, try to keep up with 37-year-old Aaron Lennon, which I thought was quite unfair. And
It
I
was.
sat back and I looked at other players like Roque Jr. and Dario Simic and stuff, and I thought to myself, and especially like looking at the Spurs team as well, I thought, obviously anyone, Milan Legends is there's a caliber you need to be in. We're not just inviting anyone to it, but like I really kind of wonder like what would some clubs kind of allow if they're just so desperate to have players rock up, be classified as a legend. And I thought to myself sitting there going, we could really like scrape the barrel and like get any player because they played for you.
Mm.
And I thought would be an interesting one. We've done videos on who our favorite players are of the club history, and they're usually going to be like, you can count on your hand who those players are always going to be. It's only one of like 10 or probably 15 players, depending on who you grew up, what side you saw growing up. I'm going to flip it around on its head now, and I'm going to go, who are your top three? Well, I guess your bottom three worst players to ever play for our club, Milan. And I think this one isn't probably as clear and cut as anyone, because equally we've had some good and we've had some very good, but we've had some bad and we've had some very bad. And however you want to derive this answer is down to your perception of, I guess, what bad is. Is it the quality of a player, or is it the expectations they came under and then subsequently delivered poorly under? So, I mean, ultimately, you can answer this question any way you want, but I think I'm going to answer mine in like footballing quality and the lack of, and I'll let
Befuddlement, if you want to use a
yeah,
word, like how you
and I'll
playing for
probably
Milan.
and I'll let Primavera players kind of get off the hook, like younger players who are kind of like
Mm.
applying their trade and looking to grow. I'm probably going to steer mine a bit more at players in their prime, and if not, players in their prime, basically. Yeah. So, what do you think as we go into this one? Like, where's your mind taking yourself to?
Well, I'll start off. I've gone for. I'm not going to go too far back because the further you go back, your memory, for me anyway, Steph, your memory on this stuff is far greater than mine. But also, I only tend to remember the more positive. The Banter era, you can pick so many in that period of time. So I'm trying not to pick too many. I've only picked one player, and then more recent players that we've had during our sort of turbulent ownership through Elliot and Redbird, this sort of like the stopgap players, if you like. So I'm going to start off with a Banter era player, and a player that we discussed this before we started the call. We weren't going to focus too much on players that we had hype for necessarily, but a player that I was excited because I'd seen him play and he had like flair and skill, and I thought yes. And it was, again, we were really in a period, we're talking 2014, 2015, right? The player I'm about to mention, I believe. We were really in the depths of crap, and I'm talking about Jose Sosa, the Argentinian attacking midfield player who had the footballing ability of a lanky giraffe. And I will never forget how fucking shit this guy was. I was so excited. I thought, man, he's skillful. He's got a little bit of South American flair. He was like the pre-Paqueta when we actually had Paqueta, who had that little bit of something about him.
Yeah.
The bloke couldn't pass a ball. I'll never forget. So he's my number one. We're gonna try and be a bit
Mm,
with this. I haven't got so many like stories I can think of off the top of my head. The other two players, I've got more anecdotes of actual individual moments within games.
yeah.
But Jose Sosa was someone who I don't believe he was a professional footballer. I think ever since he left Milan, he's been trying his trade at like lower level Argentinian leagues.
Yeah.
How he got a move to Milan, I honestly,
he actually, I remember before he joined, he was a signing that we all kind of, we were just so short in funds. We were craving for some midfield quality to come in. And obviously, I think he was at like sort of around the age of 30. So he did come from a bit of experience in the sense that he came from
Bayern Munich and Atletico Madrid. He played at,
and I think Napoli too. I think he was at
Napoli
as well.
You're right, yeah.
But like, wasn't. I don't think he was largely a starter at any of those clubs. And I think we ended up getting him from like a Russian side. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one.
Yeah, Trambansor, the one that Balotelli used to play at a few years ago.
That's not Russian. Is that not Turkish? Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, we had to like haggle the hell out of those clubs, that club, just to get like a
Besiktas. Actually, it might have been Besiktas. It was one of those ones. Yeah, sorry.
You either came from there or went there. Yeah, but we had to haggle that for like 6 to 7 mil deal. Yeah, he wasn't good at all. I always remember that summer because we signed Thingy. Who's the other midfielder we got on loan from Fiorentina?
Oh my god, you're testing me.
But like similar caliber, we were just trying to get some midfield talent through the door. It was a Portuguese guy, I think, or something like that. Anyway, it's going to elude me, but he's not part of my top three, so I won't.
Who's your number? Who's your number three?
My number three is going to be. I'm going to go for Emerson.
Nice and recent.
And I remember when we signed him. So we signed him from Real Madrid. I had to just recap on what his age was because I thought he was older than what he was at the time. He's only 30 years old. So like 30 years old, that's like in your prime. And of course, like his game was largely built on like physicality and pretty competent on the ball.
Yep.
And I thought, adding him into a roster of midfielders like Pirlo and Seedorf and Gattuso and Ambrosini and Brocchi, and I was like, he's just going to be quality because it's going to be like, we played at Juventus, he played at Real Madrid, and he was in the Brazil team. And I saw this guy join us for about, I think, a year and a half. We released him early in April in 2007. He was so bad. Like I'm talking like speed completely gone.
The bloke looked old as well. He had he looked old. Like, do you know what I mean?
Like fucking non-anti-aging, like cream or some shit. Like, yeah, he was awful, man. And even when we were like in the Europa League, the season after he joined, he still looked out of place. He still looked like he was just like, like he should have been in the Intertoto Cup or some shit. But he was awful, man. I just can't explain what I thought would have been like a pretty solid move, like for a player who I think would get a good like 2 to 3 years out of, end up being someone who was quickly released and just basically understanding that his career was basically done. I think he went to Brazil afterwards, had a couple more seasons, but like, yeah, that was quite disappointing at the time. I thought we got a steal with that signing and ended up just getting an absolute I don't know, a dead horse basically. So yeah, Emerson's my number three, but that's probably the oldest I'll go back to in the sense of, we'll probably get a bit more modern in the Banter era-esque. It's going to be where I'm driving my next two. That
interesting. I've gone, my next two are actually much more recent. As I alluded at the start, I've gone for the sort of stopgap players, which we've had many over the past 5-6 years. Loan players that again, the Redbird Elliott model of young, high potential, but ultimately just crap. And my number two is going to be Swahilio Mate, the player we got on loan from Torino for one. Actually, I think it was only half a season. Was it a full season? Was it a full season we had him for?
We got him on loan from Torino.
Yeah, but was it a full season or half? It was half,
yeah.
And it was during the Europa League campaign, wasn't it, if I remember correctly?
Correct. Yeah, because I think he fucked up when we got beat by United or something.
And this is exactly the game I'm going to be referencing.
Yeah,
I'll never forget. It was the 1-0 Paul Pogba one that Kessie obviously should have got that goal. But I don't think I remember seeing, and I'm not exaggerating, I don't think I ever remember seeing him do a forward pass in the opposition half. I'm not even joking. He would sit in front of the midfield. We thought he was like the next, like another Kessie. We'd have like Kessie and Mate. We got like these two powerhouses in defensive midfield. The bloke's legs, I'll never forget. Do you remember his legs were like unusually large? He had like 2 huge thighs, which meant he couldn't really move. And he would just pass the ball backwards. He would get the ball from like Dalot or someone. Because we had Dalot as well, I think, didn't we? As well. I mean, what a weird team that was. And now I think he's playing in Serie B. I'm pretty sure these days.
Now, because he got a move to Benfica not too long afterwards, and I thought, oh, he's kind of done all right out of this. But yeah, I think we used to have many discussions in our chat at the time. You weren't here, and I used to be like, this guy's trash, man. Like he couldn't no element of like technical ability.
Even worse, he's not even in Serie B, arguably.
He used to like
Greek league football. Pay okay.
Oh, is it okay? Okay. He used to trick me because I'd be like, oh, like Kessie's doing like I'd be like, no, mate is doing well tonight, and then it was just like, no, it's actually that's Kessie, like because I couldn't see a shirt number.
No, because their hair was the same.
It was like this massive dreadlock thing, and I was like, oh yeah, mate is doing quite. Yeah, that was a sick pass from him there. I was like, no, that's Kessie, man. Like, so I was like, my eyes tested. That's a good shout. I didn't. Yeah, mate. Oh, the stop gaps. Cool. So number 2 for me, then I'm gonna go for is it's a bit of a coin toss. This one. I'm gonna go for another midfielder. Actually, I'm gonna go for Bakaye Traore. And this one is not only just an awful player. This one, like, he done me dirty, man. I remember I was at university at the time, and it was the summer we obviously, like, a lot of the legends retired. Ibra and Thiago Silva got sold as well. And it was, I think I don't know if any other fan had this kind of moment, but you kind of thought, we'll be all right. You know, we got Ambrosini staying, like we signed Pazzini, Nocerino still had a banging season, Kempin's Boateng, Mexes.
Whose birthday is today, by the way? Anyone listening? I saw that.
Oh, it was Mexes' birthday.
Oh, yeah, Mexes' birthday.
To the psycho Frenchman. And then I sat there and the signings came in, and I'll never forget the first 3. It was Bakaye Traore and a free, Kevin Constant, and then Acerbi. And there's that, you know, infamous like meme photo of all 3 of them put their hand on the ball. In like Milanello. And but Bakaye Traore was the first one because we were looking very closely to signing him before the summer came. And he was playing for some either like a League 2, like in France, or like a very low League 1 side. It begins with N, like Nantes or something. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, Nantes maybe. Not
a lot of footage was out on YouTube for me to see how good he was, but there were some clips, and I was watching these clips, and I was like, yeah, this fucker's going to be the new Patrick Vieira. Like, you know, very tall, athletic.
Yeah, he was big. Yeah, he was big guy.
Ball forward, bit unorthodox in his play. And I was sat there going like, yeah, no, he's going to be sick. He's going to be sick. And then first preseason game, I was like, this guy is like, you just saw it. You were like, this guy is absolutely trash. He was like, I think he like came in late for a challenge in a preseason friendly against Juventus. It was like the Berlusconi Trophy or something like that we used to play in August. And I was sat there going like, I've been done, man. This can't be right. This is not the player I saw in those 5-minute YouTube compilations. Who in my head I thought would be our saving grace to get us out. Well, what was seen to be the Banter era. Barely played any games. Quickly, I understood that he was shit, and I don't know. I think
7 matches, only 7 games.
I think he was gone by January, or if not the summer. Awful. Like he done me dirty, not only from like a quality perspective, but he like there. Well, I still was holding on to the innocence of youth, and you know, kind of like in my early 20s, going like, oh no, I'm with Milan. We'll find a way. We'll turn this guy into the next one. Nah, he was the start of a very bad period of time. I wouldn't be surprised if he was, you know, the one that sent me towards therapy and stuff like that. So no.
Your therapist is asking, so what's that? It's like, it's Bakaye Traore.
We look at the photo of Bakaye Traore and then like screaming on the couch, like. So yeah, he's well and truly my number 2. Yeah,
That's a great choice. And like, yeah, that photo, Acerbi, Constant, Traore. I mean, that is nightmare fuel,
I'll
isn't
get
it?
it up whilst you think about your number one.
So we are going to do honorable mentions. I think I'm going to do a couple honorable mentions before I say
Mm.
my number one. I think Steph and I both have a same honorable mention. So my first honorable mention is going to be a player who is currently playing in the team, who you know that I am not a fan. Neither is Steph. I think we're probably his biggest critics. And the reason why I'm going to do honorable mention is because he's similar profile in terms of position as my number one choice in terms of worst player I've seen, and that's obviously honorable mention being Yunus Musa. I can't understand every time I see arguments on like online. And look, look, we're gonna say this. I'll hold my hands up right now. Pulisic is unreal. So can I not have any American like attack us? Like I fucking love Pulisic. He's unbelievable. He's your greatest ever American player, in my opinion. And I'm so glad he's playing for our club. However, I've never seen a player get more protected than Yunus Musa. And look, he could turn it around. He's still young, which is I keep getting told. Anyway, I want to say that he's honorable mention because the worst player that I've ever seen play, and honestly, this is not exaggerating. I don't think he put one good performance in at the time he was there. I really mean that. And he's probably a player that had the same issue that Musa had. It's mentality or IQ, football IQ. And that is Sergino Dest. When we brought Sergino Dest on he came for a year and a half, I think. He came on for a year and a half. It was definitely a full season, I'm sure of it. I'm almost certain it was.
Yeah.
And he had an option as well, an option to be bought. And I remember him being used by Pioli and thinking, all right, this is exciting. You know, this is big name. You know, Barcelona, Ajax. I want a bit of that. You know, he's got that Dutch flair. Sick. The bloke could not play football. He was late to challenges. The yellow cards. I remember every time I had the ball, he had the ball. Sorry, I was thinking, no, what's happening here? That's what's going on. He couldn't cross. Like he made Calabria's crosses at the time look unbelievable, unbelievable. So for me, Sergio Dest is in recent memory at least someone I have a really good opinion of as the worst player I've seen in the Milan shirt, comfortably.
He was bad. That game, that Chelsea game we went to watch, and
Oh my god,
he was
the 3-0 drubbing under Graham Potter. Yeah,
I sat there. I think I said to you and Ollie, I was like, I think this is the worst performance of a football player I've ever seen in my life. I chastised.
sat and watched
get him out of this club
live.
right now. Yeah,
we saw that guy live, and we didn't even get to see Rafa. He was injured that game, I think, or was it? No, he wasn't. He wasn't. He was injured.
He played. He played. Yeah, he played. He tried to create for the abundance of shit on the pitch.
Oh man,
cool.
Yeah,
That's a good shout. That's a good shout. And I've got the photo here, by the way. This is the infamous free-handed.
Look at that nightmare fuel. That.
Yeah, that's it burnt in my brain now for the rest of my life. Honorable mention has to go for. I'll probably have to like group them all into this. Is the abundance of left backs that we tried to sign after Maldini retired and got nowhere with it. And I'm going to throw in the likes of Taya Taiwo. I'm going to throw in the likes of Didac Villa. I'm going to throw in the likes of I think it was like Lionel Vangioni. All these players, they were shit. And I know I'm missing some left backs here. The only ones I'll give a buy to the only left backs that were good after Maldini retired, but like Luca Antonini and stuff like that. But like all those other like rogue left backs, those foreign left backs that we signed, awful. They were so bad. So those are going to be like my grouped honorable mentions of shit until until Teo Hernandez and like saved my mental health. So my number one spot is going to go to an Italian. It's going to go to a player who I watched many a videos before he joined us, but wanted us to sign him in the summers before. Had a great season at Torino with what was his name? Was it Ciro Immobile? We didn't sign Ciro Immobile. It's the player that played with him. And both of them got moved out of Torino. And equally, Immobile went to Dortmund, And my player, Alessio Cerci, went to
Oh.
Atletico Madrid. Now, when we signed Alessio Cerci on a loan deal, a season and a half after that fantastic year at Torino, I thought, yes, right winger. We had some, I think we had
he was techie. He was techie as well.
Oh yeah, he was fast. He had a great left foot, good technical ability. Very good skills as well. Well, kind of like a bit more direct than skillful, but we had El Shaarawy on the left. We had Menez and all these other players. I was like, we just need a right winger. We had Kazuki Honda, who wasn't. He was just a bit more of a good free kick taker, good passer. We need someone who's direct, who was good, who's going to run at like left backs and score goals. My God, how bad he was though when he joined. Like this guy like kept tripping over his own feet.
Yeah, I remember.
Just like I think one goal he got, I swear I laughed. I don't know who it was. It was someone correct me on this one. It was an away game. It was like against some lower league side, like I don't know, like Siena or some shit like that. And I remember the cross comes in and he fucks up the kick, but it somehow hits off his knee and goes in. Like I'm gonna have this come back to me, but I'll never forget it. It was it was in like around the end of the season, and he like celebrated it like it was like a fantastic goal. And I just sat there and I thought, you fucking bum. You once again, like Bakaye Traore, you've done me dirty with the hype like of what I thought you were gonna be. Get out. And then he didn't last long. But
Alessio, you know what else? Cerci is such a good shout because I was also a big fan of him. Do you know why? Because under the Cesare Prandelli era for the Italy national team, he got games.
Yeah.
That was where I think he must have been at Madrid, Atletico Madrid at the time. I'm sure he was.
Yeah, not with us.
And that was when he was like quote unquote good.
Yeah.
And I remember his hair because it's similar hair to me. It's sort of like floppy
like
curls, like wavy all over the place. And I remember him doing like decent against England. I think it was maybe Sweden. I remember something. It was a couple of European teams. And then you're right. I think instantly I was just like, what the fuck? Like actually, what the fuck?
It's weird when you see a player and you seen him play on the pitch in your shirt, and you're like, that can't be him. Like that just can't be him. And I just sat there game after game. I was like, fuck, it actually is him. And like it's there's nothing more disappointing than like if you sign trash, you sign trash. Like you know what you're getting. But like when you sign a player that you think you're gonna turn it around, at a point where and I think this is the point, like when the margin for error is so so small. But it's like now if we sign a trash player, and obviously like we can go, all right, but we've got some other quality on the pitch, and I know we're doing pretty shit, but like we can generally get around it and just maybe make a sale when it's not the end of the world. Then it was like every player coming in that we hoped to have been good needed to have been good, because we were scraping the bottom of the barrel with just trying to save us as a club. So yeah, Alessio Cerci is well and truly my number one. But yeah, I think that's for me. I think that, I mean, obviously anyone can give their opinion on who the worst three Milan players are. So welcome to
we
your
want to know.
We want to know, because you're going to throw some names that I'm going to sit there and go, fuck, I should have thought about that 100%. Name myself. So this is not really kind of one for agreeing or disagreeing with our picks. Although I'm sure we'll get some people challenging Lorenzo and Musa, but yeah, but yeah.
Hey, he was an honourable mention. He was an honourable mention. Give him some time.
But the point being is, I guess, just like any name can be the right name. It could be a player like Caldara, who came for a lot of money and played 3-5 games or some shit like that. Or it could be, it could be anyone. Mandzukic, who joined us at the age of 34, and he was like could barely move and didn't score a single goal. Like anyone who you think is the right answer, because it is good to just look back and have a bit of a laugh. And you never know, you might see these players rock up to a Milan Legends game in the Milan Glory kit in the next year or two. That's what we thought. I said to myself, get the Banter era players in.
Yeah, we need like the younger ones. Yeah. The younger ones would have been so good. I don't understand it. But before we go, I just want to say, we not only did we see Cafu, we were really lucky. Met him, had like an interaction with him, but we genuinely got to see an old school Pirlo free kick. They had Michael Vorm. You guys might not remember, but he was an okay Dutch keeper. He's also not that old. He's still in his 30s. And I kid you not, this free kick, perfect Pirlo territory, just outside the box, maybe about 3 or 4 yards outside the box. And yeah, it went top bins. And I was convinced when I was watching him, yes, he's slow, he can't turn, but if the bloke can keep the ball, he could do 10 minutes in this team, 5-10 minutes. He actually could. Like he could still deliver the ball, couldn't he? Like perfect pinpoint.
Still kick it, yeah, man.
Yeah, crazy.
That was an honor to see that goal. But
it was great.
Yeah. Okay, look, pleasure again as always. Lorenzo, I'll let you do the usual sign off, but yeah, have a great week from my side. Kind of lost to you.
Yeah, thanks for listening, guys. You know what to do. Check the site. Sign up for Substack if you haven't, so you get access to our lovely voices as always, and also the lovely, amazing content that Isaac's popping out, and Anthony and Ollie and all the rest of them, all the bonus stuff. We're actually going to be meeting, aren't we, tonight? We're watching the Napoli game in London. Anthony's down from the US, so it's going to be good fun. Hopefully celebrating a W. But it won't be. It will probably be a drubbing, but it doesn't matter because we can all drink beer and be together. But yes, thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next week. Any last thoughts, Steph? Any more quick honourable mentions you can think of before we go that people can have nightmares about?
Nah, I've got about 50 in my mind. It'll be enough for another day. I'm good. But no, it was a pleasure, man. But everyone have a good week. And we'll catch up next video.
Ciao, guys.